Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we are back once again with a follow-up review of this guy. This is the Authentikit P51 Mustang throttle quadrant, and this thing is absolutely fantastic, but I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about it, so stick with me. This is a completely 3D printed throttle. And so today we're going to be talking about, are 3D printed flight controls worth it? Are they effective, and are they really going to provide what we're looking for? If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkill's tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. Alright you guys, so now that we are in the cockpit, let's go ahead and just go get ourselves rolling here. It's been a while since I've been in DCS. Toggle my head tracker, and we're using the beam head tracker for DCS now as well. Now I will say it's having a little trouble today, simply because of the fact that I have the light sources in a very weird spot, so I'm really not holding beam accountable for this one. I have two very bright light sources coming from the left and coming from the right, and the ceiling above me, and so things are a little wonky for this poor webcam. It's pretty awful. Like here, I'll show you guys a little bit of what the lighting looks like right now. Like you see that? I am very bright, and that's just to make sure we illuminate this nicely. Let me actually try getting rid of this one, see what that does. That looks like a little bit better. But anyway. So let's go ahead and get rolling, and we'll get to talking about this. So I've had this guy for... Oh, did I lose it? There we go. Helps when you're clicked into the sim. Whoa. So I've had this guy for about a month now, a little over, and I have abused the crap out of it. Now the one thing that I will say is I'm on a powered 90-watt USB hub, and it still seems to do this weird ghosting, if you will. When I plug it directly into the PC and not on the hub, it doesn't seem to be near as prominent. This reduces probably by 90%. But it definitely is something that is noticeable here. But at the same token, I sort of attribute to it as more of just shake from the cockpit now, because I don't really notice any performance changes. It's still just as responsive, flying it is just as easy, landing it, etc. Everything works just fine. I don't have any problem in that respect. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. I'm trying to follow my lines here with some S-turns. The S-turns are always nerve-wracking for me. The gun sight, by the way, is probably the coolest thing. I have used the crap out of this. This really makes air-to-air combat very, very nice in the P51 Mustang. So the big thing that I want to talk about, though, is the longevity. Does 3D printing parts really last? And what I can tell you from this so far is I have absolutely noticed zero degradation in performance since the day I used it. I have probably done a total of, I would say, at least 200 hours in this with this throttle in DCS World. I use DCS World only because I think it is the better of the simulations for the P51 Mustang. There's a couple in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I have the Aerosoft, or no, is it Aeroplane Heaven? Crap, I can't remember who made it now. It's not Aerosoft. I think it's Aeroplane Heaven's version. And forgive me if I'm wrong. But I just don't like the way the P51 Mustang is modeled in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is why I stick to DCS World. One of the really cool things about this is obviously the mixture control works just fine, the prop works just fine. Again, you have the mic comm switch here, hello. And you can see it's very sensitive, works very, very well. But the sight is the biggest one. What's really cool is, especially when you're in virtual reality, I'm not in VR today. Today we're just using the beam eye tracker, but being able to look down and see what you're seeing in the aircraft really increases the immersion. The really cool thing about what Authentikit does, though, however, is if you are comfortable assembling all the stuff yourself, printing it all yourself, is it has a you're able to just download all of the print manuals required, or the print what's the word I'm looking for? Print files required, as well as it provides you a full list of all the parts needed in order to assemble everything. So if you're comfortable with a DIY, you guys can certainly do that. And one of the things that I really enjoy about it as well is it doesn't require any soldering, any fancy stuff. I think everything can be assembled, I think, as they said, with a screwdriver. So that makes things really, really nice. Obviously, how you clean and polish up your printed parts is up to you. Then they offer a pay version, which basically allows you to purchase a kit, which once again you can assemble yourself, but it only requires a few hand tools that you can find in your kitchen drawer, I imagine. So there's nothing complex about what they've done. And what they've done is they're trying to get highly detailed, replicated parts into the hands of your average simmer without breaking the bank. But the big thing always came down to how long is a 3D printed part going to last in flight simulation. Now obviously, even at 200 hours roughly, that's really not much when it comes to the grand scheme of, longevity. I would have to wait a year or two or more before I'd be able to give you a solid answer on that. But I can tell you that right now, as it is currently after this amount of hours, and I have even, guys, there was one night I actually fell. Yes, I fell, getting into the cockpit. My stupid cat, which I love, by the way, he's not really stupid, he's just a jerk. And in case you guys are wondering, his name happens to be Maverick, so it's very suiting. Suiting for him. And as I was climbing into my cockpit, he decided that was the opportune moment to shoot himself up my chest, in which case I had to catch the cat. I lost my balance, I fell forward and whacked the crap out of the throttle here. Oops, my bad. Alright, so let me get airborne first before I screw anything else up. Let's make sure everything is working right. Okay, rudders, everything like that, and let's slowly start adding power in. Fortunately, my takeoffs in the Mustang still leave something to be desired. And that's why I enjoy DCS so much, is it's far more accurate. And let's get rolling. There we go. Come on. Gear coming up. And let's do my favorite thing in DCS world. I love those flyby views, I really do. And let's get those RPMs down before I melt my engine. But it works very, very well. It's a very, very smooth action. I haven't had any problems with it whatsoever. Again, the weird ghosting is, well, it's just that. It's weird. I don't really have any rhyme or reason to why it continues to happen. But I have found that it has never impacted my gameplay. I've never had any problem with it performing well. I've never had any weird behavior in the power settings when I'm trying to get my bearings and get my speed and everything set up correctly. So it's a very, very smooth action. There's enough friction in it where it's not ridiculous, but it adds, it keeps it comfortable. It gives you the ability to fine-tune your RPMs and your manifold pressure to where you want it to be, again, without causing any odd behavior or jolting action. You don't have to shove it forward. I've also been playing around with things, and there's been plenty of times where I've done this, and it works just fine. So it really is a very slick and viable option for flight simulation that doesn't require you breaking the bank, and that's the biggest benefit, is the pricing of it is perfect, especially if you are someone who already has a 3D printer, you're comfortable using it, you're comfortable assembling things, you don't mind waiting to purchase products, going on Amazon or wherever it may be where you have to purchase the hardware, and you have that option. So let me get my camera centered here. There we go. I love this plane. I really do. One more time. Such a beautiful plane. I love this plane. And it's very comfortable. That's the other thing. Their mounting option, what they've done is taken a monitor mount, and it actually mounts forward in here, and I have it clamped onto my cockpit up here, and it works really, really well. And the really cool thing about this is when I'm done using it, if I want to, I can actually just take it and move it out of my way when I'm done using it, and I can push it back towards the back of the cockpit where it's mounted and turn it, and it sort of just swings out of the way. And I'm able to leave it plugged in, and then I have the option of using my CM3, which is right down here, and you know, going back to the way that I'm used to flying. I have been flying this almost exclusively in the P-51 Mustang when I do fly it. There's been a few times that I've dropped it into the Spitfire and things like that, you know, depending on what I'm, you know, really in the mood to do. But for the P-51, I'm always using this guy. The P-51 is by far my favorite of the Warbirds at the moment. I think it's just the damn sound. I can't get over it. One more time. It's just so gorgeous. It's such a gorgeous airplane. I don't even mind the default liveries. The default liveries that they included with it are so good. But anyways, so I highly recommend you guys check out Authentikit's website. I'll have a link to it down in the description below. The other thing that I'll tell you about Authentikit is that their Discord is extremely helpful. When I first noticed the ghosting behavior that you're seeing there, I immediately went to their Discord, started talking to them like, hey guys, is this normal? And their response was sort of like, well, no, we haven't seen that before, but they didn't just leave it at that. They gave me ideas. They were helping me troubleshoot. Like, you know, it might be power. And in their defense, usually ghosting is a result of power. I'm not sure about that, only because I have so many devices that are plugged into a 90-watt power supply or a powered hub. So that is kind of trippy because it doesn't happen with any other device. So I'll admit that that part to me is still weird. But for something that you can basically put together yourself, print yourself, and save a lot of money by doing so, if you're comfortable with that, it's definitely worth it. And I think outside of, if you don't want to do it yourself, I think you still have to assemble it yourself regardless. But if you want all the parts and everything shipped to you, I think you could pick, for example, this thing up for right around the area, if I remember correctly, right around 150, between 150 and 200, depending on who's getting it for you or where you're getting it from. So it's just really a very good option. And the other cool thing about it is that they're constantly innovating and coming up with new things. Authentikit is actually in the process of developing a, why can I not think of it? TPM throttle quadrant based around the Comanche for Microsoft Flight Simulator and any general aviation simulator really. And that's the other thing that's really awesome about this. Just like any other product, they're not bound to a specific simulator, so you can fly just about whatever you want, which makes things really nice. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my phone chiming. I don't know why I'm being pestered so much right now, but mercy I am. But that's just the way it goes sometimes, I guess. So let's bring it in for a landing. And the TPM I am super excited about because it is looking gorgeous. I cannot wait to try that thing out. That thing is going to be a ton of fun. Yep, I know, gear down, but we're not where I want to be on speed yet. Oh, there's the runway. We're at almost idle, man. Let's put some flaps down here. I think I need to calibrate my settings a little bit different for DCS, for my beam tracker. Ooh, I know better than that. I knew better than to do that. I'm going to put myself into a stall is what I'm going to do. Come on, Mike, you know better. That was really poor flying right there. Did I lose my airport? Oh, there it is. Alright, let's keep those flaps coming down. Where are you? So cool. Let's pull the prop back a bit. I will warn you, my landings in 2D are even worse than they are in VR. So no promises on how this turns out. And there's that space shuttle approach that I'm so famous for. Damn it. Got unstable. Nice and easy. Did I just land? No, I didn't. Oof. Very long. This is going to be bad. It's going to be a bouncer. Oh. I've done worse. I've done a lot worse. Dance the pedals. Dance the pedals. Dance the pedals. Dance the pedals. Ooh. I don't know why, but it felt like that runway got really narrow. So I was like, at the end, that's why I floated for a second. I thought I was landing on a taxiway. Didn't want to pull a Harrison Ford. Ooh, too soon? Anyway. Alright guys, so seriously, I really hope you guys take some time to look at the Authentikit products. These things are really awesome. They're really well done. They can take quite a bit. They can take a lot of the abuse, etc. that we talked about. I'm not too worried about any of that. I can't believe that I almost fell on it and smacked the crap out of this. I would not recommend doing that, but it was nice to know that it held up. Seriously guys, check it out. 3D printing is certainly becoming a very viable way of doing flight simulation. There's so much that's changing with 3D printing. There's so many new products now, so many new media that you can use that's strong enough and durable enough to withstand quite a bit and last for a very long time. I can tell you again, the only thing that I would be worried about when it comes to 3D printing is the, losing the friction, everything, starting to wear down and become smooth, etc. But I mean, I've got a lot of time in this one so far, and I haven't noticed any kind of change. There isn't any wearing or anything like here. And the other cool thing is inside the grooves here, for each of the axes, there is a, let's just shut the engine off. There is a felt lining that goes in the grooves of these that makes it even better, because now you don't have plastic on plastic contact. So that's probably going to make it last even longer. Well, I mean, there's no probably about it. It's going to. But anyways, guys, I really hope that you guys found this video useful. I hope that you guys take a minute, check out Authentikit, check out, even if you don't have your own 3D printer, look at their 3D printing options. They have sellers and services, that will 3D print it for you. They have different packages that you guys can purchase in regard to that. Give it a shot and see what happens, guys. If you're interested in something like this, they have some very amazing cockpit builds that you guys can see on their Discord, which again can be found on their website. There's a bunch of different stuff that can be printed. They have a full P51 quadrant now. I don't know if, no, it's not going to let me do it because track IR. What happens if I stop it? I wonder if it'll let me do it when I stop it. Nope. Gosh darn it. Anyway, basically the entire flap and carb heat and everything like that assembly that's down below here You guys can pick up that as well. They have a brand new build coming for the Spitfire. There's tons. There's so much stuff, and they just keep coming out with more, and it can all be just 3D printed. So take a look at it, guys. Worst case scenario, you don't find something you like. Best case scenario, you give it a shot, and you just might be pleasantly surprised, as I am with this particular device. This thing has really shocked me. It's really awesome. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.